I am still buzzing. It is technically still Sunday for me. It's 12:40, so technically it is Monday, but I'm buzzing. I even put the flag, the belt back up. I can't even talk. What is up, Finn fans? How's everyone feeling on this Victory Monday? The Miami Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills. So we got some things I want to talk about. Obviously, you could see the title. I think it's like, what can we take away or what can we build off of this victory? Because this is a victory. It's a big victory, in my opinion. Is it going to, whatever into something? I was trying to think of a word to say. I will talk about that to the tankers, to the people who are like, oh, we're losing our picks and we're not going to get Mendoza and yada yada. I will talk about that. I'm going to talk about some of the things, some of the plays, especially one specific play or two specific plays that I'm getting a lot of back and forth from on Twitter, and then some of the things that one of the Buffalo Bills says. But before we jump into all that good stuff, shout out to the sponsor. You know who I'm talking about. Sleeper. Love using them. I use them for the picks, which I actually did pretty well. I think I only have 4 losses, so I think I'm going to do pretty well. It depends on what happens tonight with the Packers and the Eagles. I also need Jalen Hurts to give me a ton of points fantasy-wise. But go over, and if you're like, hey, I just want to try him out, you get free $20 entry, no deposit needed. But if you want to throw a deposit in there, use my code DDW, you get 100% matched up to $100. So again, Miami comes out, plays fantastic yesterday. There was a few hiccups here and there, right? Like the 4th down plays that were converted. You're going to get that with Josh Allen. That's just how good he is and how much of a backyard football player the man is. And, the 2 interceptions, which I will talk about from Tua Tagovailoa. We'll go into detail because him and Mike McDaniel came out and talked about it and how it was already like pre-designed, which, again, bothers the crap out of me. But it was a big win. It was a big win, I would say, for the morale of the team, but it's also a big win to build off of. And it's a big win to build towards. I want to talk about that, but not right now. I'm going to make you wait. Let's talk about the 2 interceptions and kind of what. All right, let's talk about this first, because you guys were asking me a lot about it, and this news came out yesterday, I think right before the game started, and it was that the Buffalo Bills tried to trade for Jalen Waddle. They were going to offer a 2027 first and a 2026 third, and the Miami Dolphins said no. And I am very happy that the Miami Dolphins said no, because yes, you're getting a first, but it's a 2027 first. And do you think at any point in this year or next year, Buffalo is going to be bad enough that 2027 first is going to be good enough to get you in the top 10? No. Now, obviously, you can package the 2 first together to move up to get a said quarterback or whoever we need at that point. But I'm so glad that they didn't. We can't be trading our players, especially one as good as Jalen Waddle, to a division rival and then have to face him twice a year and have him just do to us what he did to Buffalo yesterday. Like, just so dumb, and especially because it was a first and a third. Now, if it was Buffalo, then I want 2 firsts. Plain and simple, I want 2 firsts. If it was the New York Giants and they were going to give us 2026 first and a 2027 third, then I'm listening a little bit more. Then I'm like, interesting. Can you sweeten it? Can it be a third this year as well? Like, then I'm interested and I'm thinking about it, because again, the Giants right now have the 3rd overall pick. So if we got their first pick and we have the 3rd, we would have the 7th and the 3rd overall pick, which we will talk about where the Dolphins are at when it comes to draft and all that stuff. But I'm very happy that Champ Kelly did not make the trade, and he was smart and not sending Josh Allen, Jalen Waddle over to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, because that would have really pissed me off. Like, oh my God, would that have pissed me off? So that's the first thing. The other thing I want to talk about, Greg Russo. After the Dolphins beat the Buffalo Bills, Greg Russo comes out and he says, it's different playing in the heat because we don't really do it that often. not making excuses. You literally made an excuse and then said you're not making excuses. Mind you, Greg Russo, who played at Miami University for 4 years, 3 or 4 years. So he's used to this heat. The other thing, it wasn't that hot. It literally poured at halftime, and then there was cloud rollage. So the Buffalo Bills were not sitting in the baking sun. There is no excuse. And you know what I noticed too? I noticed it with Josh Allen. He was beat to hell, man. You saw he was tired. He was extremely tired. And the Dolphins defense did what they needed to, which was bend not break. Make him run around, make him fight for all this stuff, fight. Focus on stopping the run, focus on containing him. Again, I'm doing a film breakdown tomorrow. It's probably not going to be monetized, but screw it, I'll do it. So to help me out, please at least subscribe, because I'm going to get no money off of this video. So the least you could do is thumbs it up and subscribe. Help me break 54,000 subs. We're very close. But they did it perfectly. They contained him. And then when he broke containment, this corners and secondary, which I'm going to talk about, did a fantastic job of sticking with the receivers and made his job hard. A lot of throwaways, a lot of tip balls. We had the interception from Ifatu Melifonwu. Very, very smart play on defense. Got to give that shout out to Anthony Weaver. And that's my biggest thing as, I guess you could say, a Dolphins content creator or somebody who covers the Dolphins now for 7 years, give or take. If you're doing something bad, I'm going to call you out for it, right? Plain and simple. I was very critical of Anthony Weaver's defense and consistently dropping people back into coverage and how, sometimes the plays weren't working. I was very critical of especially his run defense and how bad it was. He called a fantastic game against Buffalo, and I got to give him his props. Plain and simple. You do really well, I give you your props. It doesn't matter what team you're on, I give you your props. Some people hyper focus on the props. And I already talked about it on Saturday. But shout out to Anthony Weaver for that. So there's that, right? Greg Russo. Again, they're trying to use the heat. Last time we beat them. See, last time we beat them, it made sense. It was 1 o'clock and they were getting roasted on the sideline. That makes sense. Now you're just being a baby because it kind of was cloudy and everyone got the same type of humidity that was being dealt with. Then we could complain about going up and playing in the cold, and you're not allowed to say anything. So shut up. That's my thoughts and opinions on that. So let's get into two plays that happened, and then I want to talk about the foundation and the future of this team a little bit. So the 2 interceptions, which were essentially Hail Mary throws, where Tua just chucked it. This is what Mike McDaniel had to say about it.
Even with a couple, throws that I was actually really pumped. I told Tua to, on some third down calls, to let it rip down the field and kind of operate it as an opportunity ball to, act as a punt. Still, with all that, we ended up in the plus. So, by and large, we just executed on the things that we set out to execute. So I think that was the biggest difference.
And then this is what Tua had to say about it.
Okay with you taking those deep shots, 3rd and longs, because if they get picked off, it's just like a long punt anyway. Was that like a mindset that had to shift to go ahead and take those shots anyway, not be worried about throwing an interception on those?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a mindset shift. It was more so when we got a certain look, when we got one-on-one with Jalen and it was single high safety, that no matter what, we wanted to take that shot. And we want to give one of our best guys on the offense an opportunity to go one-on-one with whoever their DBs are. And so, got to make a better play, both me and Ski. But outside of that, that's what we were told to do.
So let me break this down because I didn't like them both, but I'm more understandable. I'm more understanding. Okay. So let me break this down for you. The first interception was after a very messy opening series where we had the false start, which was essentially Alec Ingold motioning from left to right. They called us a false start on that. Then we had to call a timeout literally after that so Mike McDaniel could yell at him, and it was like a whole hodgepodge of stuff. And then boom, we throw the play and it's intercepted. Now I'm fine with that one, right? 0-0. You tried it. right? Screw it. Let's see what we can do here. Maybe we can get a PI or something, right? And my thought process on those types of plays, first and foremost, is I hate when people say it's basically a punt because you are essentially removing a down. Like you on that 3rd and 10, you could have ran anything else, crossers, posts, whatever, screens, whatever you wanted to run to give yourself a higher percentage of converting versus chuck it and pray. You know what I'm saying? So, but on the first one, I'm fine with it. It irked me, but I'm like, all right, I get it. And I'm fine with doing that because again, and this is some of the things I've heard on Twitter in the comment section and stuff, is it starts to make their defense respect it. Right? Okay, they're going to try these. They're going to try to throw it deep. We need to respect it, and I get it. Where it still bothers me is that you have a 5'10" Jalen Waddle running the route, and he's going up against Cole Bishop, who's 6'2", and obviously I think Hairston was on him as well, 5'11". But the thing is, he had 2 guys on him with the first interception, and one of them being 4 inches taller than him. Right. So I was like, I don't like it. And again, it was like a domino effect of the first 2 things happening and then that happening. I was like, come on, don't let this be it. So the first one I wasn't as peeved about. The second one is where I really got bothered by it. Right. Because look, you do it once, you want to push their defense. You want them to, kind of respect it and you want to, hey, screw it, let's try it, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But if it doesn't work the first time and you're only doing it to Jalen Waddle and you only have Waddle running the seam route, don't do it again, right? It's kind of reminiscent to me of him constantly throwing bubble screens and it not working, but he keeps doing it and then we're getting tackles for losses. So the second one, again, it's Hairston and Bishop. So again, both of these guys, one of them's 1 inch taller than Waddle. The other one's 4 inches taller than Waddle. Waddle even falls on the second interception. But what bothered me is that the second interception came when we were up 16-6, right? They got the touchdown. They didn't get the 2-point conversion. They started to feel some type of momentum. And in these situations with these types of teams like Buffalo, with Josh Allen, all that stuff, you saw what he did against Baltimore when he was down by 15 with like 4 minutes left. You give him an opportunity and you give him an extra down, he will take it and make you pay for it. And that's my mentality on the second 3rd and 10 chuck up, is because again, it's a situation where what I'm hearing is, you could possibly get a PI. It's technically a punt. And you want to make the defense respect it, right? Those are the 3 things I kept hearing when I was talking about that. It was dumb. I didn't like it. It was dumb. Well, one, sure, you can get the PI, but we didn't get it the first time. We're not going to get it the second time. And especially because Jalen Waddle fell. And again, you have guys taller than Jalen Waddle. 2, it's basically a punt. Why are you cutting yourself short? You're facing a team in Buffalo. You're only up by 10 now, that you shouldn't be cutting yourself short a down. You need to take every down you can, and you need to eat the clock up as much as you can, and you need to be as effective as you can in every little aspect of your game. So to just throw a down away and say, technically it's a punt, you can't be doing that against superior teams like the Buffalo Bills, like the Patriots, like the Eagles, like the Chiefs. Like, you know, that is kind of why in the past we haven't won against winning teams, is because we do stuff like this, right? So that's what bothered me. And then on the flip side, God forbid one of these interceptions gets taken back. We did it to the Jets on the Hail Mary. Now, thank God in heaven, the interception was taken back to Buffalo's 39, which again would have sucked. You're about 11 yards from midfield, but they had a block in the back, which then put them at the 12. So again, a lot of things, and I even said in the tweet, and I'll show you right here, I said, thank God we won, because a lot of things could have went wrong in these 2 instances that would have just been a domino effect and just an avalanche of just, oh my God, why are we doing this and why are we trying this? So again, the first one I get, because I've even said it before in other games where Tua has just chucked it and prayed. And then you had one play where Tyreek came back for it. And again, you can go back in the live stream and see me go like, oh my God, we caught it, but please don't do that again, because that could have been intercepted. You know, if Waddle caught it, I would be happy. But at the other end of it, I'd be like, you gotta stop doing that, please. Because God forbid you throw an interception and, you know, they take it back. These are the instances, and this is where my brain's at. So hopefully that makes sense on why I didn't like it, and why me personally, I'm like, you got to take advantage of every down you get. You can't be throwing them away and saying, well, technically it's a punt, because it's not. You lost a down. You get 3 downs and then you punt. Well, for us, we got 2 downs and we punted. See what I'm saying? So, and they're not really, you know, they're more focused on stopping the run, so they're not really, you know, we're not scaring them with the deep threat, even though we had the nice deep throw to Jalen Waddle. But outside of that, and then the 2 interceptions, we weren't really throwing it down the field. So it's like, again, draw together different plays, posts, crossers. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just chuck it and pray. Especially because the second one, he got hit when he threw it. He just lollipops it up there. So that is my thought process on the 2 interceptions and why I didn't like it. And I will talk about this on Tuesday with Alan and Omar, because I'm pretty sure they're going to push back, especially Alan, who likes to be a judgy bastard. So now I want to talk about the future, right? Because again, we won. This is fantastic. Now, I'm still enjoying this, but I kind of at the same time enjoying it want to, you know, let's take a breath. Let's take a breather. Let's bring it back a little bit, right? A lot of people are talking about, hey, if we beat the Commanders and then we beat the Saints and then we beat the Jets, we could very easily be sitting at 6 and 7. And please don't put it in you're already put it in the comment section. You already put it in the comment section. Oh, I hate that stupid 6-7 garbage. You already put it in there. All right, just have at it. We beat the Atlanta Falcons handedly, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at this!" And then who do we play the following week? The Ravens, and we got smacked, right? And then we played the Cleveland Browns, and we got smacked. So let's not go into Madrid, because you even had Jack Jones saying like, "Oh, that plane ride to Madrid's gonna be a party." I don't like that mentality, because this was a fantastic win. Obviously, I wore my championship belt. I didn't even put it back up yet. Fantastic win, but don't get too ahead of yourself. You lost to the Browns. You didn't just lose to the Browns. You got smacked by the Browns. You're going to be facing a Washington team that isn't bad, right? They got some good receivers. They got a decent defense, and Marcus Mariota is not a slouch. And then you got to buy, and then the Saints just beat the Panthers, and the Jets just beat the Browns, a team that beat you. So as easily as the Dolphins can be that record that I don't want to say anymore, they very easily can lose the next 3 and be sitting at 3 and 10. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I think Mike McDaniel gets fired. And that's the other thing, right? A lot of people are sitting here saying McDaniel just saved his job and blah, blah, blah. Pump the brakes. There's a lot of season left. Now, I would still move on from McDaniel. I understand that this Bills win is fantastic and it feels good, and he did really well. And he coached it well. But again, it's another back-to-back season where we started 2 and 6, and it's going to happen again, right? McDaniel didn't really learn from his mistakes, and we were 2 and 6 for a reason. Some could say it was Chris Grier. I think it was the both of them. And it's the same reason why when we went 1 and 7, I wanted to move on from Brian Flores and Chris Grier. So again, I'm still sitting in that boat of at the end of the year, I'd still move on from McDaniel. I think he needs to win about 6 games. So he needs to win another 3 games to save his job. But you can't look at the upcoming opponents and just think cakewalk. We'll get back there. We'll be 1 game under 500. And then we have the Steelers, and we have, who do we have? We have the Steelers, and then the Bengals suck, and then Tampa Bay is kind of beat up, and then the Patriots might be resting their starters at that point. Hey, we very easily can get to 10 and 7. No, you can't look past the Steelers on Monday night in Pittsburgh. You saw what Joe Flacco's doing with the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, their defense sucks, but you can't look past them. Tampa Bay's a good team, and the Jets are good. The Patriots are a good team. Even the Jets are a good team. So, we're not a team that we can sit around and puff our chests because of this win. Enjoy it. I'm still enjoying it. If you look at all the TikToks I made about this win, but let us pump the brakes a little bit. Let's really quick look at the Tankathon, right? So Miami's right now at 7. We have the Raiders, the Jets, the Cleveland Giants, Saints, and Tennessee Titans in front of us. If you are in the thought process of you want a quarterback, you got to worry about the Raiders, the Jets, the Browns, and the Saints. Those are the teams you got to worry about. Now, again, the Dolphins play the Jets. The Dolphins play the Saints. So those two games, again, Miami loses those games. That puts them on a real good fast track to get up in that top 5 again. And the Saints aren't taking a quarterback, and the Giants aren't taking a quarterback because they have Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, right? So they might be a trade down category if the Dolphins see a quarterback they really like and they want to trade up. Say, Mendoza doesn't go. Say this is the situation, and Mendoza doesn't obviously go 1, and he doesn't go 2. Dolphins could possibly trade up to 3 if they really like Mendoza. Again, I know people look at, and we'll look at like upcoming schedules. I know people really like, oh, I want this guy, I want that guy. Well, you got to let the season play out a little bit, right? Like the Saints have to play Tampa, and they have a really easy strength of schedule. They play the Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Falcons twice, and they play the Panthers again, who they already beaten. So again, they can start winning games. Cleveland, they play the Titans, the Raiders, the Bengals. The Ravens is not an easy win for them, so I don't know why that's there. They can go and start winning some of these games. Who else did I say? The Jets, they play the Saints, the Dolphins, the Falcons. They can win these games. I don't know if they beat the Ravens, though. Who else was I talking about? Was the Raiders, Giants, Browns, Cowboys, Texans. So, they could still do. These teams can still come off and win these games. So nothing's set in stone when it comes to this. I think the only thing that could really be set in stone is Tennessee, but they must beat the Chargers, right? So not even that set in stone. So there's that. So I talked about McDaniel and his future. Again, I think he did a fantastic job in this game. But even if you went back and watched Saturday's video, the second half of Saturday's video, the guy interviewing with Rich Eisen was talking about how smart and how good of an offensive coordinator McDaniel is. But when it comes to being a head coach, he kind of lacks in some areas. And I agree with that. And I'm tired of being like mediocre. And honestly, I think if McDaniel comes back again, we'll win. We'll get a new GM, and I don't think it'll be the guy we want. I'll get to that in a second. And we'll add some pieces that'll be nice, and this, and that, and then we'll win 8 games, and just be stuck in that limbo again. So I don't like that. But for a possible GM that's looking at this Dolphin team, you got to look at possible top 10 pick. And you have, it's not like you have to tear it down, right? You have a foundation. These are players under 28 years old, right? You got Jack Jones, who's doing very well this season. We have him only for this year under contract, so they'd have to give him an extension. But we have Jack Jones, Juju Brents, who coming in playing this game, shutting down Coleman. We have him under contract for this year and next year, so we have him for 2 years. You have Devon Achane. We have him under contract for the next 2 years. Jalen Waddle, we have him under contract for 3 years with an out in 2 years. We have Ollie Gordon, Patrick Paul. I know Jonah and Grant aren't doing fantastic, but they're still young pieces that if you get the right coaching, you can develop. Same thing with Jordan Phillips. You have Chop Robinson, Malik Washington. Willie Gay Jr. is under 28. Greg Dulcich, who's under a 1-year contract as well, is under 28. These are guys you can build with. These are guys, and that's a good amount of players. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players. That could be your foundation. And some other guys are still under contract that you can either work with them, like Jordan Brooks and Dotson, or figure out what you want to do at linebacker or corner, safety. Minka Fitzpatrick, is he coming back? I don't think so. He'll probably get traded, but there's still a foundation there for this team to be enticing to the GM. And I know people are gonna be like, but we're in cap hell. Not really. You cut Tyreek Hill, we're instantly under the cap by $11 million. And then there's still some, Bradley Chubb. And if you do make Austin Jackson a post-June 1st cut, it's like I think it's like 11 million in savings. Like, the cap is fine. And to me, that is what it takes, especially for the future of this team. You got to find that right GM. Now, is it Champ Kelly? I don't know. He didn't do enough to really sit here and make me go, oh, I got to bring Champ Kelly back. But there are good GMs out there, potential GMs, and this team is showing that they have talent on it, and you can definitely build with it, and you don't have to start all over and hope and pray that in 2 years we're competitive, right? You do it right, you can be competitive. You could pull a Washington Commanders and be competitive in your first year with a new GM and a new head coach. So I kind of beating the Bills the way we did kind of put that in perspective for me, that the team's bad, but there's bright spots in this team, right? And there's areas of this team that you can build and foundations, especially when it comes to your left tackle, a star wide receiver, 2 running backs. You got your defensive line. I know I didn't say Sealer, but he's not under 28, and we did have him under contract. You got a pass rusher and Chop Robinson. You got young corners and Jack Jones and Juju Brents. And then if you do bring back Rasul Douglas for a year, you can draft a corner and then have a very nice cornerback room. You got to worry about safety. Like, there's a lot that you can build off of with this team. So not everything's doom and gloom. And, I think a potential potential GM, whether it is, say the Eagles assistant GM, if we call him up, that could be a very big selling option. But they need to, and I'm going to keep saying this, and I'll say it in the offseason, and they need to let him decide on things. If he doesn't want McDaniel, let him decide that. If he doesn't want Tua, let him decide that. Whoever the new GM is, you can't handcuff them. You want to win, you want to do this right, you let him decide. If you don't say you have to work with McDaniel and Tua. Don't say you have to keep Weaver and McDaniel. Don't say you have to at all. Just say, what is your plans for the Dolphins? And when he gives your plans, if you like it, go, I like it. When can you start? Cool. Whatever you want to do, go do it. That's what they need to do. But this win is huge because, again, though the names that I said showed up big. And Jack Jones with the forced fumble, with Juju Brents shutting down Coleman, Devon Achane with the big runs and touchdowns, Jalen Waddle making the catches, Patrick Paul doing really well in run blocking and pass blocking. I saw Jordan Phillips make some stops on run stopping. Same thing with Grant. Unfortunately, Chop was in concussion protocol. Greg Dulcich was making some nice catches. Everyone kind of had their moment. So there's something there to build with. Comment below. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the foundation? What's your thoughts on my thought on the 2 interceptions? What Greg Rousseau had to say? The Bills offering a first and a third, but a first of 2027. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to do a film breakdown tomorrow. I'm going to try to figure out how to do it and not get copyright claimed. We'll see. Maybe I won't make it full screen, which sucks because you're going to probably be like, I can't see it, Doug. Maybe give me some tips below. Be like, hey, try this. I don't know. But it will also be over on the Patreon in full form. So I'll see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Evans out.